Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel called Living in Hayward, Wisconsin, where we talk about all things real estate related and also just about living in Hayward. I'm Audrey Miller. I'm the broker owner of Northwest Wisconsin Realty Team. We're located right on Main Street in Hayward. I am a listing and lakefront specialist. I'd be happy to help you whether you're looking to buy or sell. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. If you have a comment, if you want to just, share the channel with someone else, feel free to do that and check out my other videos. I'd love to have you do that as well. But hopefully you find the information helpful and informative. Some of it is just about the Hayward area. Some of it is about real estate. There's a collection by now. This is fall of 2025. I think I have 60 or 70 videos out there on my Living in Hayward channel. So hopefully there's something that you can find to be helpful. So I want to start a series here that I'm going to intersperse between other videos over the next couple of 2-3 months, maybe even through the winter here. We'll see how it goes. But it has to do with price point and what property you can get for that price point. And I'm going to do this in different segments. We'll do today starting at the bottom up to the $300,000 mark. If you've got $300,000 and that's your budget and you're wanting to be on a lake in the Hayward area, I'm going to kind of break down what you might expect to be able to purchase in this current market that we're in. And then we'll kind of graduate up from there into different categories of price points and share with you what you can find. Because I think one of the most important things, sometimes when you're a buyer and you're looking, even maybe as a seller watching this and saying, hey, what might I be able to get for my property, and having a realistic feel for that. Either way, it's good to know, generally speaking, what is a reasonable budget, whether you're selling or buying, but especially when you're buying, to be able to, find what you're looking for and have expectations that at least fairly closely match the market. You'll waste a lot less of your time and feel less frustrated if you kind of know somewhat what to expect going in. So hopefully this helps with that. So we're going to break down in the Hayward and Stone Lake areas. I didn't go outside of these areas in this video. We're staying with those areas because that is my primary area that I work in, even though I do cover other areas. We're just sticking with those two zip codes. Hayward is a very big zip code, and then Stone Lake is a pretty good sized zip code. And that's where the majority of the lakes in our area around the Hayward Lakes area are included within those two towns or zip codes. So that's what we're focusing on when we talk about this budget. You can watch one of my other videos like what lake should I buy property on, or the ones that talk about the winter area, or mine on 𝐿HV&x, or I have some others about the sub areas, and you can tend to get a little more for your money when you get outside of Hayward and Stone Lake, but many of the buyers I work with want to be in relatively close proximity to one of those two towns, especially to Hayward. So that's what we're going to focus on today, but hopefully this is helpful to you and you enjoy listening to this short video about price point under $300,000. Okay, so let's say you're on a somewhat limited budget, $300,000 or under, and you're looking to purchase a property in the Hayward area that is waterfront. What I will tell you in summary is that this property will likely either be a condo, a pretty major fixer-upper, or a 3-season cabin, or 2 or 3 of those things. It will also likely be small. It'll be typically on a smaller lake, although there's condos on larger lakes that do fall within this price point. And it may or may not have the best frontage, especially outside of a condo association, but in this price point. And let's just take a look at some of these. I think visually, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I think looking at some of the photos of these places while I give a little short commentary on it is probably the best way to give you a feel for this. So this first one we're looking at is on the Chippewa flowage. Now, the only way you're going to get on the bigger lakes or tier 1 lakes in the area at all under $300,000 is in a condo association. I don't think there's any exceptions to that rule. So this one was in the Dreamcatcher Condo Association. And as you look through the pictures, it's a really cute, fairly updated cabin, just under 1,000 square feet. It's an older cabin. This used to be part of a resort, as most of our condo properties are. The one other thing here is that one of the things that kept this price point lower is that it is not in the first row by the lake. So it's set back a little ways from the lake, and you had to look over and past or through other cabins to view the lake. However, it's nice shoreline here, lower elevation to the water, and this was a 4-season cabin. So in terms of the under $300,000 price point, this one was almost right at, it's $295,000. But this will be one of the probably nicer 4-season ones, but it was hurt by the fact that it was a row back from the water. A lot of people don't like not to have kind of the direct water view. And this one took 98 days from the time it came on the market until it went to closing. The next one we're going to talk about is on Reed Lake. This was off of County Highway B, so kind of direct access off of Highway B, so there would have been a decent amount of road traffic noise there. Reed Lake is a small lake. It's 69 or 72 acres, kind of out by the Chippewa flowage east of Hayward. The other things that kept this price point lower is that it is a manufactured home. Manufactured homes do not tend to hold their value as well as stick-built homes for whatever reasons. And it did have a limited view of the lake, so it was back quite a ways from the lake compared to the normal 75-foot setback. So they have smaller lake, manufactured home, but it did have a garage and it did have bigger square footage than than most of the rest of these, but had some other factors that kept it at a price of $283,300 is what it sold for. And that took 56 days on the market, which is not very long from the time it came on the market till it sold. The next one is on Sand Lake off of Elsie Road, which is kind of close to the intersection of F and Highway 70 there by Sand Lake. This was an 868 square foot cabin. This was a 3-season cabin. So Sand Lake is what I would consider to be a tier 2 lake, very clean, very nice, 900-acre lake. It's got good depth, good fishing. But the cabin itself, needed some updates, undetermined age, so probably quite an older cabin, and it's 3-season only. So those were the things that kind of kept this in that lower price point, and it was also part of a condo association besides. The fourth one we're going to talk about is on Chickadee Lane. This was on the Tiger Cat flowage. The Tiger Cat is east of Hayward. It's actually a very nice location. Tiger Cat itself is a little more shallow. It's a flowage, so it has kind of the browner water. The frontage on this lake can vary quite a bit, but there's 5 lakes that make up the Tiger Cat flowage for a total of about 1,065 acres. This one was on Lake Placid within the Tiger Cat flowage. This is in a condo association, was a 4-season cabin, but with no garage, just right around 750 square feet, and it sold for $265,000. It actually went over full asking, so I would say they had it very appropriately priced, maybe a little bit on the low side, and it sold for $265,000. It only took 36 days to go from on market to closing. That was almost certainly a cash offer, just based on the timing and how quickly it closed. Probably a cash no contingencies offer, but I'm not 100% sure. And then property number 5 that we're going to talk about within the $300,000 and under range. And by the way, these all sold in the year of 2025. So during the 2025 season is when all of these properties sold. And there was a total of 22 properties in the Stone Lake and Hayward zip codes in the whole year through kind of the end of the season in October. So that kind of gives you an idea of how many properties also are in this category. It's not a lot. But again, purchasing in a condo association is a way to get on one of the larger bodies of water for less investment. So sometimes people choose to kind of exchange the privacy aspect of having a standalone versus a condo, and you have the shared frontage situation. I have a whole video about condos. If anybody isn't sure what we mean by condos in the Northwoods, there is a whole video on my channel about that. Maybe you can search and find that one if you want more info. But typically you own the condo building itself, your cabin, I would call it. You share the frontage, you have some limited common areas, you have some area around your cabin typically that's kind of your own little area, and then some shared areas as well. In addition to the frontage, sometimes there's like a fire pit area. Most condo associations do not have garages. Some will have like a 1-car garage stall in a shared garage building. Sometimes they'll have a little shed, but a lot of them do not have any storage space at all other than inside your building, or maybe a small storage building that's like adjacent to your cabin. So property number 5 that I want to talk about was down by Stone Lake on Allendale Lane. This was on Hungry Lake, which is a very small 45-acre but nice clear lake. The thing about this one that kept it at a lower price point, it sold for $240,000. Very cute cabin, could be used as a full-time residence. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, actually on a little bit of acreage, 2.3 acres, over 1,000 square feet. Very cute little place. Older, built in 1998, but not so old. It had a 2-car garage, a nice yard setting. The big difference here is that there was no lake view. So the lake frontage here was actually down a path and down a hill, and then the frontage itself was very swampy and mucky. So the lakefront here was really subpar. That's why, even though it's on the lake technically, it was a very small lake, and no view and access being a little more difficult. So that's what kept this at a more affordable price point. It was almost like it was off water, but yet you did have access to the lake, but a nice, very livable house in this case. And then property number 6 in this under 300 category for 2025 is a little condo cabin on Nelson Lake. So again, Nelson's a bigger lake, around 2,500 acres. This cabin was very small, 672 square feet, super cute inside, but an older cabin. It is a 3-season cabin. Actually, I can't remember. I sold this one. I can't remember for sure now if it was 3 or 4 season. Now I think it was able to be used in the wintertime. There was a little stove in there and it had the insulation in the crawl space. So I think it was 4 season. It had been updated and remodeled. So it was very cute inside, as you can see. Nice views of the lake, but again, very close neighbors in the condo association. $225,000 is what that ended up selling for. And that took 92 days to sell from the time it came on the market until it closed. And then the final one that I wanted to mention, this is the only one in the list that was under $200,000. This was a small 3-season cabin on the Tiger Cat flowage. This one was only 480 square feet. So pretty tiny cabin, 3-season, not really swimmable frontage on the Tiger Cat flowage. Older cabin, again, in a condo association, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, no garage. And that one sold for $189,000. But there are always people who are looking to be able to get on a lake. This is on the Tiger Cat, so decent sized lake, for a less expensive initial cost. So this ended up going to closing in 33 days from the time it came on the market. So again, that got snapped up very quickly, sold for full asking, closed within 33 days. So hopefully hopefully this gives you some idea if you're like, oh my, I want to get on the lake in the Hayward area, but I don't have 500 or 700,000. There are opportunities for you. Maybe it's your first cabin and later you sell it and upgrade, or maybe that's just kind of the budget that you're comfortable with. Again, not a ton, and you're going to compromise on one of those things I mentioned, but it is good to know that you can still find something under 300,000 if you're kind of wanting to get into the market sooner than later, but don't have the ability to borrow, or maybe want to borrow or spend if you're paying cash a higher amount. So like I said, I'm going to continue this series and probably do 5 or 6 different videos going from this price point up to the kind of 2 million and above range. So just watch for more of this series sprinkled throughout this fall and winter, and hope you find this to be helpful.